back to the stream. It's Wednesday, and you know what that means. It's time for Jump Around, our weekly cardio class, and I need it because it's snowing again. Oh man, this is definitely a wintry winter. With, just a smattering of record-breaking low temperatures in various places and destruction of infrastructure and the signaling of the climate crisis that's only going to get worse and worse unless we actually get off our ass and do something. But hey, at least it's snowing and it's pretty. Hi everyone. Oh, I hope you're doing well. My feet are just so cold, and thankfully my heat's doing fine. It's not had any issues since the weekend, but it's just, my office is down in the basement, and there's only so much you can do to warm up a basement. That's really just gonna stay kind of cold no matter what you do. So I'm already looking forward to the shower after class. If for no other reason than it will be a wonderful opportunity to warm myself up a little bit. But first we have to have class, and I'm so glad you're here for class. Always a wonderful time to have class. This is our Wednesday class, a good opportunity to get a little energy back, which is always wonderful. It's midway through the week. Oh, sorry. Yeah, see, I'm talking about energy. I'm really just talking to myself. Most of the time when I tell you that something is really good to do for X, Y, or Z reason, I'm usually just talking about myself. And it may be a little broader in terms of people that it hits, but yeah. Oh man. But we're chugging along. Again, I really hope that anyone watching from Texas is staying safe, is staying warm to the best of your ability. I know that things are pretty messy down there, and I really hope that you and yours are able to stay safe, because boy, it's no good. There's some really, really awful stuff happening down there because of the wildly extreme temperatures. So yeah, take care of yourselves, be safe. If you're watching this, I'm very glad that at least you have electricity, and I'm glad that you feel able to work out, because that's always important. Yeah, it's been a pretty good day, pretty chill, figuratively and literally, and I'm looking forward to relaxing tonight. Been eating a lot of my bread, my homemade bread, which is predictably delicious. So maybe the next time I make bread, I won't freak out as much about potentially ruining it. Although I say that basically every time. So, someday, of course it will be true. Someday I will make the bread, and I will just be confident that the bread will turn out delicious, because it always has. It has every single time. And this time I have a little bit more temperature control over my kitchen space, which is nice because, the recipe calls for like very specific, you want the dough to be at this temperature when you start this part of the process, and like it can be a little intimidating. So this last time my dough was actually at the temperature that I wanted it to be at, which was very exciting, or very nearly there. It was slightly lower, I think, but yeah, there's trial and error, there's learning by doing, and eventually someday I look forward to feeling extremely confident about my bread skills. I'm sure it'll happen someday, but today I don't need to make bread because I've got an entire second loaf down there. But what I do need to do is run class. Sorry, I got distracted. The snow is so beautiful. Oh man. Yeah, it's coming down more than I thought it would. When it started snowing like an hour or two ago, it was just, you know, tiny little flakes just going about their business. And now I'm like, all right, we're getting some accumulation. I mean, it's 30 degrees out, so of course it wasn't going to melt because we're below freezing, but it's hi. Anyway, I can stop getting distracted by the snow and switch over to teaching class. It's cardio day. Woohoo! We're gonna be jumping around. We're gonna be doing lots of fun stuff. I'm looking forward to it because, yeah, I'd like my feet to warm up and this will help. So let's do our pre-class checklist. My friends, make sure that you have your water in whatever vessel you are holding it in. I had some emergency earlier, which I know is like a placebo thing and it doesn't actually do anything. And you know what? I'm at the point in life where I just have to choose my placebos. Snow is the best. I love snow. So you've got your water, you've got your comfy clothes, you've got your mat or mat size space on the floor. And if you use a fitness wearable, let's turn them on now to high intensity interval training. If you don't use them, totally fine. Not at all a requirement. Just something that I like to remind people about because I use one and I frequently used to forget to turn it on before I actually started class. So again, this is more for me, but it can be also useful to all of you, which is why we include it in the checklist. All right. Is it warm up time? I think it's warm up time. Otherwise, I'm just going to sit here and stare at the snow. And that would be a pretty boring hour-and-a-half stream. So, yes, let's do it. All right. Warm up, warm up. You have taken class with me before. You know the warm up. It is the same warm up. If you haven't taken class with me before, welcome. This is going to be the warm up in front of all of my classes, so it's a good thing to learn. Oh, wow. I'm feeling my core today, which I didn't realize until that moment when I tried to gracefully let myself down to the floor and did not do that. All right. 1 foot crossed over the opposite knee. We're on our mats, on our backs, and as soon as the timer goes off, we will begin with hip rocks and bridges for our warm-up. Oh, yeah. Anybody who was in yesterday's class, how's your core feeling? How are your abdominals feeling? Because mine have actually hit that magical place where they're actually feeling a little bit sore, which I've mentioned before doesn't happen to me super often anymore. So it's always one of those like, oh, I remember this moments, which is fun. And then I go, oh, and now I have to work through the soreness, which is, you know, less fun, but still a sign that I had a good workout yesterday. Oh my God, something's in my eye. Get out of there. There we go. Haha. Got you, eyelash trying to poke me in the eye. You will not stop me from exercising. So we're doing our warm-up. We are not going for a 100% energy output right now. We are just trying to boot up systems. So you can tell that I am not going for rocking my hips up in the air as high as they can possibly go or bridging as high as I can possibly go, because that's not the point. The point is to start engaging our muscles, warm them up a little bit, get them ready for more intensive movement, get our brains ready and prepared to send the appropriate signals down to our muscle fibers, make sure our energy production systems are online and breaking down their energy stores into fuel for us to use for the rest of this hour. All right, leg sequence starting with good old Jane Fonda. Yeah. At some point, whenever we do hit Twitch affiliate, I really want a Jane Fonda emote. I feel like that is just going to be very important. Very important to our work. Actually, I need to remember to tell my graphic designer that, because we talk about Jane every day, so it only feels right that we have an emote to celebrate her, I think. So whenever we get to that place, we're we're at the point where we're so close, and we are sort of steadily going up in that last metric, in that average viewers metric, but it is a slow process, and it feels very volatile too, because it really, if you have a couple of streams in a row that are fewer viewers than you're used to, then that metric can really get impacted almost overnight, it feels like. So it is a frustrating part of this trek towards affiliate, but we are getting there, my friends. We are getting there. We're super close, which is really exciting. Just really incredible to see what we've been able to build over the last almost year. I was on Facebook the other day, and it reminded me that it was just over a year ago that I had put out on my Blanche Case Fitness page a question to people, asking if they would be interested in online classes, maybe through something like Twitch. That was the first time I floated the idea, and it was before anything had shut down or anything like that, so it wasn't a reaction to that, but it was an idea that had been floating around in my head, and then I thought could be really cool. And I just happened to ask the question mere weeks before suddenly it went from cool idea to kind of necessary if I want to be able to keep teaching. So that was it was one of those really weird jaunts down memory lane where you're like, wow, I look a little bit like a genius, and I wasn't. It was just like, what a weird accident of timing that I was thinking a little bit more intensely about that idea right as it was about to become incredibly necessary and incredibly relevant to my life and to our ability to keep working out together. So I'm incredibly grateful every day that we have access to tools like this, that we have the ability to gather together online and take class together. That is just absolutely remarkable that we're able to do that. And it's just amazing. It's amazing to me. I feel very, very fortunate that even in the midst of so much chaos and so much pain and anger, we have at least had some ways to gather together as communities and, to spend time and, do activities together and keep ourselves healthy and support each other. That is just amazing, and it's something I am super grateful that we're able to do here. And I'm looking forward to doing it, you know, as long as we can, because the world may open back up a little bit, and I hope that it does, because I'd like to feel like I can leave my house at some point in 2021 without having to, you know, go through an enormous life or death checklist. But this is something that I very much intend to continue growing, no matter what the overall state of our ability to move through the world is, because this is just a really wonderful community, a really wonderful opportunity to take a class like this and to do it live and with other people, but also to have that safety, being able to do it in a familiar space, and being able to control your environment, which can really, really help us from an accessibility standpoint, particularly when we're just getting started in a new fitness routine. So yeah, there will be plenty more streams to come, even once we are able to move through the world. And the nice thing is, even if I go on vacation, I can stream from anywhere, you know, so it is not, it's not something that I will have to put off or stop doing, unless I decide to, you know, and sometimes I will. I took that vacation week back at the end of September, which ended up being not restful at all, but at the very least laying the groundwork for some better things to come, which was important. But, you know, that is definitely something that I will try to do on a semi-regular basis for myself, just to make sure that I am taking care of myself and my needs, but also, you know, for the times when I want to travel but don't necessarily want to take the time off of streaming, I'll also be able to do that. I'll be able to take y'all with me and find new and exciting living room spaces in which to work out. So it will be, I'm very excited to see how this channel grows and evolves over the next year. And my God, I can't believe it's almost been a year at this point. I need to remember when I streamed my first class, because I don't actually remember when that was. Because I don't think I immediately started doing it, even once everything shut down. So I might not have actually started the streams until closer to April, which is wild. I'll have to check on that. I'll have to go back through my Facebook posts and see when the first time was that I talked about that. And then, of course, for a little while, I was running Facebook live streams for my class at the Boulder Rock Club, which was also a lot of fun. I do hope I can teach in person again at some point this year. You know, it may be a while before that happens, but it would be nice. It would be nice to be able to do that again. But you know what? If that doesn't happen, and I'm just doing these streams for another year, I won't be sad about that, because we have a good time here. Even when we come to class the next day and our core is sore and our hamstrings are sore, and my nose is froze and my tail is froze. There's a Cruella de Vil movie coming out starring Emma Stone, and I am just like, who was the Disney exec who was like, you know who we need more background on? the lady who wanted to skin a bunch of puppies and make a giant fur coat for herself. Like, that was the person that we wanted more focus on, because that's a little weird to me. Cruella de Vil, definitely not one of the Disney villains that I ever felt the need or the desire for more depth or more background to her character. But here we are. Apparently we live in that world, and that time is now, whether I like it or not. So yeah, I guess Cruella de Vil movie, which I'm sure will pop up on Disney Plus at some point. I can't tell when it's coming out, and I confess that I don't care. So I haven't looked into it any deeper than noticing that people were posting about it online and going, well, that's weird. That's about as far as my research has gotten, and I'm okay with my research staying there for now, I think. So yeah, not gonna worry about it too much, I would say. Whew, we are already to the cardio portion of our warm-up. Holy crow, that's always exciting. And remember that even in the cardio section of the warm-up, we're still not going for 100% intensity, all right? We're still finalizing the boot up sequence right now for our cardiovascular system, which obviously we're going to need for today's class. But yeah, we're not going for, I need to go as fast as possible, and I need to put as much power as I have into this, because when we do that in the warm-up, and then we have 45 minutes left of class, well, then we end up running through our available energy and not having anything left for that remaining 45 minutes. So make sure that you are always paying attention to that, all right? And that means you're doing these exercises a little more slowly, or not doing, not doing more than a bare minimum version. That's okay. The warm-up will guide you through the process of ramping up your energy output because of the way it's structured. But just remember that once this is done, you have 45 more minutes of cardio class to get through. So you want to make sure that you have that available, that energy available to you, so that we can have an awesome rest of class. Woo! I am discovering lots of pockets of sore muscles. And I recognize that I don't get any sympathy for that, but it's kind of fun. When oh man, I really regret coming back to that entire chat log. Dang it, and now I have to use that pun, don't I? Because it's too perfect. Crap. Yes, I do feel my core today. All right, so let that be a lesson to you on how badass you are. Because Yeah, I'm feeling my core. Dang it. And I'm going to complain about it too. I don't care that I'm the one who caused it. I'm still going to complain about it. Technically, when you have a sore core, you are the one who caused it because you're taking class. So really, it's just a sign that we're taking care of ourselves. And isn't that what this is all about? All right. Away from bad puns and justifying my sore muscles, let's start doing some tabatas. And I think today we are gonna run through the gamut of tabata timers. So we're just gonna start out with a 20-10. So 20 seconds of work to 10 seconds of rest. And let's see here. What do I see? I keep getting distracted by the snow. The snow is so pretty. So pretty. All right. So for our first one, let's do some flaming scarlets, which we haven't done in a bit. So arms in a V for victory, held above the head. Don't let those elbows bend. And just jumping from foot to foot, bringing those knees up above the crease in the hips, okay? And then our second exercise is going to be, and if you thought that having a sore core was going to stop me from doing abdominal exercises, well then, you don't know me very well. The second exercise is going to be shrimps. So moving ourselves along our mat by rocking for shoulders, then hips. And once you get to the end of the mat, you get to turn around and head back in the opposite direction, all right? So 20 seconds of work, 10 seconds of rest. Flaming scarlets is our first one. And then shrimps is our second one. Oh, that one, okay. One of those weird moments where I didn't feel like I actually touched my finger to the screen, but the timer went anyway, so I had to make sure that I had the correct timer running. All right, everybody get prepped on your mats, arms up, and we're going. So we really want to be bringing those knees up above the crease in the hips, okay? So if you're not there yet, that's okay. You may have to work towards it, but what I want you to focus on is bringing the knees up as high as possible, okay? So we're not trotting. We are really jumping from side to side. And now we're doing our shrimps. So since this is a cardio day, I want you to try to go as quickly as possible back and forth along your mat, all right? So, yeah, just trying to get as much speed in there as possible. All righty, second time through. So we're just going back and forth between these exercises. And, you know, this is our first interval of class, so we do want to keep that in mind in terms of energy management. But you know what? This is cardio class, so of all the days that we take class, this is the day for us to really challenge ourselves to push a little harder in terms of speed, all right? And to see what we can do, because often we get stuck in an old and out-of-date mental conception of where we are, where our physical health is, where our abilities are. Because our brains are trying to protect us, and that's wonderful, and we appreciate our brains for everything that they do to try and keep us safe. But sometimes what they're doing to try and keep us safe is trying to convince us that we do not have the capacity to push for a little extra speed or lift those knees up a little bit higher than we were previously. And that's not always true. So I definitely want you to remind yourself that you can do that.
that your brain does not contain the be-all and end-all of your capacity to move and challenge yourself. So always take the opportunity today to see what you can do, okay? That is your focus point for Wednesday class. On Wednesdays, we challenge ourselves to go just a little bit faster, to add in just a couple more reps, and to let our brains know that we can do that, all right? So, yes, this is our first set. Absolutely, we need to make sure that we're maintaining energy enough to do the rest of class. But you know what? Let's start on a strong note. Let's end the set on a strong note. See how many times you can get back and forth on your mat doing those shrimps, all right? Just think of yourself as doing a little sprint, a shrimp sprint, if you will. That's really hard to say. And then relax and get some water. Yeah, water. Oh my goodness. March 19th, okay. Okay, so maybe I started a lot sooner than I thought. I guess I went, well, I guess there's no time like the present, and just went for it. A sprint, yes, thank you. All right. Woo! That was a good kickoff. Now we're going to do same thing, but up the timer interval. So 30 seconds of work to 10 seconds of rest. So same amount of rest, but 10 whole extra seconds to work out in. So keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. You will need to pay attention to that. So first exercise is going to be side-to-side mat jumps. So we start on one side of our mat. Stand on the same leg. So if you're on the left-hand side of your mat, stand on your left leg. Other leg is crossed behind you, but I'm not putting weight on it. I'm using it for balance, but all my weight is on my front foot, and all of the power for the jump is going to come from that front leg. So I plie a little bit, jump to the other side of the mat, touch down a hand if you need to. Again, only for balance, don't put weight down on it. And then back to that first side, okay? So we've got side-to-side mat jumps there. And then we are going to do turtle planks. So roll up on the shoulders, up on the feet, jump back into that nice plank position. Look how gorgeous that is, but we don't get to stay here. Then we just jump right back forward and repeat, okay? So that one's a little touchy because it feels like we're arresting the momentum because we jump into the plank, but then we have to jump right back where we came from. So keep that in mind. It can feel a little bit funky. All right, so side-to-side mat jumps and then turtle planks. 30 seconds of work, 10 seconds of rest. First sound does not mean go. That was our stop sound, so we get to chill, relax a little bit, and now get ready, get set, and go. All right, so we talk a lot about spatial awareness when we are doing side-to-side mat jumps, and I'm in a much better position for them now than I used to be. Y'all remember when I was teaching in my living room in the old place, and I had, you know, a big armchair on one side, and I had board game bookcases on the other, and it was like, well, I really have to make sure that I'm not going to run into something or kick it when I do this exercise. I have more room for myself now which is wonderful. Gives me the opportunity to be a little bit more daring with that exercise than I could be before. But if you are working out in your bedroom or in your living room or somewhere like that, I want you to really always remember to pay attention to spatial awareness. What is around me? What could I potentially knock into by doing this exercise? And what safe modifications can I make to the exercise to make sure I don't hit anything? This is an important skill in the gym as well, okay? You know, when we're in the gym, there are generally more spaces that are appropriate for this kind of movement, but you also have to make sure you're aware of where are the large pieces of equipment, where are the racks of dumbbells and kettlebells, where are the other patrons moving around me. You don't have to think about that stuff as much in home unless you have a nice gym set up in your house, but you do have to think about, okay, where are the rugs I might potentially slip on? Are there pets that might decide to dart out in front of me when I'm mid-jump? Where is the furniture? Where are the expensive electronics that I don't want to knock into? So we still have to do a lot of those calculations, and it's one of the big critical skills for any type of fitness activity is learning to enhance your spatial awareness as much as possible, making sure that no matter where you are and no matter what you're doing, you are aware of what's around you, of what potential hazards you might encounter, and you are ready to modify what you're doing in order to keep yourself safe and keep everybody else safe. All right? So just make sure you're thinking about all of that stuff whenever you're doing, any of these exercises, really. Like this one is a little bit more contained than the side-to-side mat jumps, but I still need to make sure that as I'm rocking back on my shoulders, there's nothing above me that I'm going to kick. As I'm jumping my feet back into that plank, that they're not going to knock into something that they don't expect. So yeah, spatial awareness, a key component of everything that we're doing. Whew. Oh man, let me tell you, my friends, exercise is definitely the most effective method I have found for staying warm in the wintertime. Holy crap. I already feel warmer than I felt all day, which is very nice. So yeah, thanks for joining me here in class. If it's snowing for you like it's snowing for me, then take a second to enjoy the fact that you are cozy and safe inside your home and getting to do a fun class. Hey, hey, hey. And in a second, we will, come to the end of that set. Good job, everyone. Whew. Yeah. All right. Make sure you're drinking that water. I'm sure that you're working hard enough that you don't really need me to remind you of that, but make sure you're drinking that water. Oh my goodness. All right. Well,
next thing we're gonna do is we're gonna ramp up again. So 45 seconds of work to 15 seconds of rest. So we're getting a whole 5 extra seconds of rest, but we're adding another 15 seconds onto our work interval. So that's a total of 25 extra seconds from where we started. Alrighty? So yeah, you know, there are pros and there are cons. And that is just fine. All right, let's do our jump rope, I think. So if you don't have a jump rope, don't worry, neither do I. But I do have 2 hands and an imagination. So we're going to simulate jumping rope so that we get that jumping and we simulate the arm movement as well, moving the jump rope through space, but we have the bonus of not whapping our toes with the jump rope each time we bring it around, okay? So that's always good, right? All right, and then our second exercise is going to be, I think our second exercise is going to be bicycles. I touched my core, you knew an ab exercise was coming. All right, so engage, contract those abdominal muscles to bring chest and shoulders off the ground. One knee in towards the chest, the other leg extended but off the ground. Bring the opposite elbow to that knee, then switch. And we're just going back and forth, my friends. Alrighty? Okay, let's get that timer going. So it's nice to have the extra time in the rest period, but it also can throw you off. It always throws me off. So just remember, if you're going along and you're resting and then you're like, I feel like I should have heard another horn by now, don't worry. There we go. Knock, knock, knock. That also gets weirdly funky for this timer and this timer only. So I try to let you know when the knock, knock, knock sound has happened so that you don't miss that particular cue, because it's really important when we're focusing on starting on time. It's important to pay attention to the knock, knock, knock sound and go, okay, now I have to get in position to be completely ready so that as soon as I hear the beginning of that fanfare, I am now moving. I am now getting into position and starting that exercise. Alrighty? So, yeah, I don't know why my speaker, for some reason, just doesn't like this timer. All right, that was knock, knock, knock. Get ready, get set. And we're off. All right, and remembering to check in with our abdominal muscles, making sure that they are the muscles that are engaged, that are lifting our chest and our shoulders off the ground, okay? And that you're not trying to leave them behind and pull yourself forward using your head or your neck muscles or your arms or anything like that, all right? So always check in on that. It's one of the reasons why we don't put our hands behind our heads when we do this exercise, because that makes us have the tendency to try and yank ourselves forward. And then we're like, well, why is my neck so sore? All right, jump rope, round 2. Da da da. Oh, so yeah, the jump rope is nice. We don't have to wrangle the actual physical jump rope, but you know what that means? That means that you can take that extra energy, that extra focus, and work on increasing the rate of jumping, the speed
that you were going through that exercise. So you're not just, maybe if you had a physical jump rope, you might have to go this speed, but without it, you can really speed it up, all right? So take advantage of that. All right. Take advantage of your rests too, okay? This is the whole beautiful thing about high intensity interval training. Knock, 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 get in position for those bicycles. So, you know, we have this short, bounded amount of work time. We know how long it is. We know that we don't have to go past that. So we have the capacity to push ourselves a little bit harder than we might otherwise. And then we take every second of that rest and we try and bring our breath under control. We try and get our heart rate back down a little bit and just practice being able to rest and relax pretty quickly from what you were doing before. And that's one of the first places that you start to really feel your improvement with a class like this. You know, when I first started taking this class, I'd get out of class, and first of all, I could barely make it down the stairs because the exercise room at the BRC is on the 3rd floor. You know, so first of all, you're like, oh my God, I'm gonna fall down these stairs. But I remember that it would take me, you know, at least an hour to feel like I had somewhat recovered from class. It was really intense. And, you know, my body was not used to that type of exercise and that degree of intensity. And so the first thing you start to notice frequently is not necessarily tied to a specific exercise, to feeling like you're, you know, stronger at push-ups or better at flaming scarlets or anything like that. The first thing that you tend to notice is when class ends, knock, 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 it takes you far less time to recover, basically, you know? So maybe your first few weeks or your first few months, you know, it would take you an hour to fully rest, feel like you weren't, you know, having to pour yourself from location to location. And then maybe I was like, oh, all right, I felt better after only 30 minutes that time. That's nice. And so on and so forth until eventually you get to the point where you finish class, you finish whatever really intense interval you're working on, and you're like, all right, cool, I'm gonna go about the rest of my day. Knock, 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 get ready, get set, last run of jump rope. And that's frequently where we notice our improvements first. And honestly, it's super exciting. It's so exciting because it's not tied to a specific exercise, but it's giving us a picture of our fitness as a whole, right? Where it's like, all right, if I can do that class that used to crush me for a couple of hours and I can be pretty much recovered within, you know, a minute or 10 minutes or 15 minutes, then my overall fitness, my overall levels of strength, stamina, speed, power must have really improved, which is, of course, the goal, you know? We're not generally taking this class because we have very hyper-specific activities that we want to be better at. We're taking this class because we want to improve our overall health and our overall fitness. And this class, this type of class, provides a nice base of athleticism for anything else that you might want to try, you know? So when you're looking to cross-train for any other type of activity that you're doing. This is a great class to do for most of them. Yeah, it's just giving us that nice foundational layer of fitness, of strength, of speed, of power that we can then take and use in so many other types of activities. Improving our running, improving our hiking, you know, so many things. It's so cool to feel those improvements, you know, to go, and maybe that's where you first notice it. Maybe you're still feeling crushed by class and you're getting really frustrated about that. And then you go for your first hike since you really started taking class and realize that you feel kind of like a superhero, like you're tromping along and not feeling as winded as quickly, feeling like you can make it up a lot higher before needing to take a rest. Like, you know, maybe that's where you first notice the improvements. The point being that if you focus too much on individual exercises that maybe you're struggling with, that maybe are frustrating you, then you tend to miss the forest for the trees. And that can be really demoralizing. We all do it, absolutely. There's not a single person who doesn't have experience doing that with something. So just try and remind yourself that our goal here is to be able to lead full lives that include whatever degree of mobility and activity you want to maintain for as long as we can, okay? And at that, you're already succeeding. Just by being here, just by taking class, you are absolutely succeeding, all right? All right, back to our 30 seconds of work and 10 seconds of rest, which will feel just joyous, I think. Alrighty, so let's do flying chickens. So feet together, we jump them apart in the air, but then land them right back where they started. Thumbs at chest height. If you wear a bra, you can hook your thumbs behind your bra straps, and we're just flapping the elbows like that. So up, down, up, down, up, down, up, down, just like that. Alrighty. And then I think our second exercise, we're gonna do push-ups, which is a little more on the strength side, but also still roll intense. You can, as always, do wall push-ups, push-ups off of the edge of some furniture. You can do our nice classic plank push-up. You can do push-ups from the knees. You can do half plank, half wave, full wave. The only things I need you to focus on, keeping your shoulders directly over your wrists and keeping your elbows glued in by your sides the whole time so they're not letting themselves fold outwards, okay? All right, so we've got flying chickens and push-ups. 30 seconds of work to 10 seconds of rest. Let's get that timer going. Remember, the first sound does not mean go. Yes, I will always remind you of that. Yes, it's because no matter how long you've been taking class, someday your brain will just be thinking of other things and you'll hear a sound and go, oh, cool, I need to start moving. And then you'll hear the knocking and you'll go, well, crap, I just lost out on my rest period because my mind was somewhere else. So, yeah, keep that in mind. We all do it. We all have done it. So, if you do it, obviously, it's not something to worry about, but, you know, rest is important. I tell you that all the time. So it is important to me that you get all of the appropriate rest time that you can get. Alrighty. And when we're doing our push-ups, we want to maintain that long line of the body. Even if you're going from the knees, you see how I can still maintain that nice long plank, keeping my hips in line with my back and with my upper legs, rather than letting my butt sort of fly up into the air, all right? So things to focus on while you're doing push-ups, no matter which position you are doing them in, okay? Push-ups are just, what an incredible exercise. So seemingly simple and yet so intense. And it's one of those things where, you know, most of us first learned about push-ups in PE classes. And PE classes are not great at focusing on form. So, you know, whether or not you learned how to do them safely in PE classes up for grabs, I don't believe that I did. But it's an exercise that we can frequently, you know, write off or go, oh, but that's so common. It's like, well, yeah, there's a reason why it's such a common exercise, because it does what it needs to do. And it does it really well. So, yeah, there is a lot to be said for introducing new exercises to our rotation, keeping things fresh, making sure that we have variety in what we're doing. And there is also something incredibly important and valuable about having exercises that we can return to when we want something that we know we understand from a form perspective. From that core fundamental level, we understand how to do it, and we're not having to take a lot of our brain power and focus it in on, okay, what am I doing again? How do I do this exercise? You know, there's a time and a place for that. Absolutely, it is valuable, but it is also really valuable to have those exercises where you can put all of your focus on challenging yourself, pushing yourself a little bit harder, whatever that means to you. You know, there's no objective marker for what pushing yourself is supposed to mean, because we are all in different places in our fitness journey. We have different bodies, they have different strengths, they have different weaknesses, they have different capacity for movement, you know? So you need to know your body as well as you can so that you understand its strengths, its weaknesses, where you might need to modify exercises that I or another teacher might give you so as to be safe, to pay attention to any chronic injury states. This is stuff that you need to know, all right? I can only do so much, and obviously I'm even more limited in that capacity because we're taking class via stream, you know, so I'm not in the room with you to really check your form. But you know your injury history, you know the history of your body, you know what it can do, what it may struggle with, but could build towards, and what, you know, limitations on certain types of movement you may have. And once you have that, then you can start to learn, okay, what can I do to compensate for this safely? And that is stuff that I want you to always work on learning for yourself, because once you have that relationship with yourself and with your body, which, let me tell you, particularly in American society, we are not good at developing healthy relationships with our bodies. But the more that you build that relationship, the more that you learn, okay, this is my stronger arm, but also the leg on this side is worse at balance. And,
you know, this is my more flexible hip, but this leg may be more stable as a base for various exercises, you know? Anything like that. The more that you can learn about yourself, about what your body can do, the stronger and more capable you will get at any type of physical activity that you undergo, and you will be better able to keep yourself safe no matter who's teaching you, okay? All right. Well, I would say that it's time to do our last tabata. Going back to 20 seconds of work, 10 seconds of rest, the timer structure that started it all. And what are we going to do, my friends? What enjoyable closer are we going to do? Well, I think that the first thing we're going to do are mountain climbers. And, you know, we've done a lot of single leg mountain climbers recently. So let's do some double leg mountain climbers. And I think we'll jump the feet out to either side of the elbows, not surrounding one elbow. So for double-legged mountain climbers, we start from that same plank position, but we jump both feet forward and land. That's a big difference. We land and then jump back into that plank. So from the front, it looks like this. I'm jumping my feet forward. You see each knee is on the outside of the corresponding elbow, all right? And then you jump back to that plank. And then I think our second exercise is gonna be turtle jumps. So we roll up onto the shoulders, up onto the feet, and jump and repeat, okay? Remember with turtles, you can use a hand to push yourself up onto the feet if you need to. Whoop. But I recommend working as best you can to get to a place where you can just roll directly up onto the feet, because otherwise you're interrupting some of the momentum for the exercise, and that just makes it a little harder, okay? So, double leg mountain climbers and our, turtle jumps. There we go. We got there. We got there. Don't worry about it, everyone. We're fine. Everything is fine. Alrighty. So, 20 seconds of work, 10 seconds of rest. This is our last tabata. This is our opportunity to really push ourselves. We don't have to hold any of that energy back. So we can take this opportunity to push for as much power, speed, intensity as we can muster, all right? So remember, when we're doing these double-legged mountain climbers, we are controlling and moving our weight through space using our shoulders. So you need to make sure that before anything else, your shoulders are strong and they are in a stable position, okay? That is absolutely critical. It's the same thing when we were doing turtle planks earlier, you know, because you're jumping your feet up in the air and moving them through space, changing where your center of gravity is, and that requires you to be managing that movement with your shoulders in a safe way, okay? Sorry, gotta send a quick text to a client. But y'all are doing great. Y'all are doing absolutely great. And I know you know that. All right, we're just gonna send that one. All righty. So back to those turtle jumps. Remembering, of course, that you are keeping your core engaged so that you can roll up onto the shoulders
and then roll up to the feet. So you want that rounded back like a turtle shell, okay? All right, you're halfway through, which is so exciting. It means you only have 2 more sets of each of these exercises. So double leg mountain climbers. First thing we do, check our form. How's it feeling? All right, how are your shoulders feeling? Are they still stabilized? Are they holding that position? Are they guiding your weight through space? When you land in that plank, how does that feel? Are you feeling like you're sagging your hips down a little bit? If so, really maybe slow it down a little bit and just pay attention to jumping to that nice straight plank position. All right, and now for those turtle jumps. Again, as much as possible, we want to harness momentum for these jumps. So you are rolling, rocking back on your shoulders and then rolling straight up onto the feet and jumping before you even have a chance to settle in. Alrighty? Okay, so now we come to our last 2 intervals. Last time for our double-legged mountain climbers, and then we will have the last time for our turtle jumps. So, again, you are on the home stretch, which means that you can dig in, find those last pockets of energy, and you can use them all. We don't have to save a dang thing. We are here at the end of class. You have made it through an entire hour of our cardio class. You have been absolutely crushing it, and you are going to leave here with the power and the determination to do whatever you want to do for the rest of the day. Good job, everybody. Holy crap. All right. Let's just take a quick second. Couple of nice deep breaths. Really get that breathing back under control. And now we're already on the floor. Let's do some stretching. Let's start with our quad stretch. Y'all know the one. So for the leg that you're going to be stretching, you want to fold it so that the heel is on the outside of the hip, and then pull it in right up next to the hip as best as possible. And then the other leg, I've just let the knee fall open like that. We're not really worried about it. It's not really involved in the process, as it were. And we are going to slowly let ourselves down, only as far as we need to feel that nice, intense stretch in the quad, okay? So if that's here, then stay right there. Awesome. You don't need to go anywhere else. If that's down here, excellent. And if that's all the way down on the ground, cool, okay? Just be honest with yourself and try to move slowly into the position. We don't want to activate the muscle and have it try to contract, okay? We want to lengthen this muscle. And if our brain sends a signal down to it, it's going to do what all muscle fibers want to do, and it's going to try and contract, okay? So, settle in to this position. Really feel the stretch, the intensity of it, okay? And we're going to take 4 deep breaths here. And every time we inhale, we're going to visualize that oxygen going to wherever we feel the greatest intensity of sensation. And every time we exhale, we're just going to try and settle a little bit more deeply into the stretch, all right? 4 deep breaths. Here we go. That's 1. That's 2. That's 3. And 4. All right, and now from wherever you are, carefully get yourself back up to seated. Don't unfold this leg under its own power. I want you to take one hand to the knee, one hand to the ankle, and manually lift and rotate and unfold. I didn't use my leg muscles for any of that. Then bring the other leg to meet it. Shake those knees out. And then let's flex the feet and point and flex and point and circle the ankles first in one direction and then the other direction. All right, and now same thing other side. Okay, so getting into that position, remembering that as we let ourselves down into the stretch slowly so that we don't activate the muscle, you may have a different degree of flexibility on this side than on the first side. That may mean that you can go lower. That may mean that you can't go down as low. And that may actually not impact you. You may have pretty similar flexibility on both sides. Just remember to be honest with yourself, okay? So that you are not trying to force your leg into a stretch that it's not ready for. All right, we're going to take those 4 deep breaths. Same parameters as the first time. Here we go. That's 1. That's 2. That's 3. And 4. All right, same as before, carefully letting yourself back up. One hand to the knee, one hand to the ankle, manually unfold and rotate and set out in front of you. Bring the other leg to meet it. Shake those knees out. Flex the feet and point and flex and point. And circle the ankles in one direction and then the other direction. All right, and now my knee's feeling a little twingy, so maybe we won't do the pretzel. Maybe let's take our butterfly position. So soles of the feet together, okay? And we are going to want to fold over our legs. We want to really intensify the stretch in the hips. That's our goal. So we don't want to just flop over like that, because that will emphasize the curvature in the lower back, and that'll keep our lower back farther away from the thighs, which will mean that we aren't able to deepen the stretch as much as we want to. So instead, take a flat back position and slowly walk your hands forward, one hand at a time, and try your best to maintain that flat back as far as you can. You're not going to be able to maintain it perfectly, and that's fine, but really try to maintain it as best you can, and then when you think you've gone as far as you can let the upper back fold over, all right? And you'll feel the difference. You can even test it out. Test out just doing that versus what we're doing right now. Walking our hands forward, one hand at a time, really concentrating on getting that lower back as close to the thighs as possible. When you release your head over, just give your neck a little bit of a shake. Make sure you're not clenching your neck muscles. And we're going to take those same 4 deep breaths. Here we go. That's 1. That's 2. That's 3. And 4. And bring yourself back up to seated. And just let those knees sort of bounce a little bit. And again, you can start to notice differences in your hip flexibility from here. So you can see my left hip is much more flexible, and you can tell just by looking at how my body is positioned here, okay? My right knee is pointing farther up into the air. It's not able to get down as far without me really engaging the muscles or adding a little bit of additional force, whereas my left knee is just chilling there. That entire leg apparatus is practically entirely on the ground, okay? And that's one of the ways that I can tell that this hip has much more flexibility than this other hip. And I can tell you about the injury history that led to that particular disparity, but this is what I'm talking about. Getting to know your body, getting to know the ways in which you are not symmetrical and the ways in which you might be symmetrical. So when we're doing those quad stretches, I'm pretty symmetrical there. I can make it all the way down to the floor on both of them. Maybe my back is a little bit more arched in one than the other, but it's a pretty negligible difference. Whereas something like this, that's a pretty noticeable difference, okay? And knowing that about myself allows me to better understand, what exercise modifications I might need to make, or just how an exercise might feel different from side to side just because of the increase or decrease in flexibility. And it points me in a direction if I'm like, oh, I would really love to even myself out in terms of that flexibility. It points me in that direction. It tells me what area I would need to focus on, and that helps me to better plan, okay, what would be the exercises that I would want to do? What would be the programming that I would want to do that could focus in on helping me to open up that hip a little bit more? So just the more that we can do to learn about ourselves, to deepen that relationship with our bodies so that we're not going around feeling like disembodied heads driving these weird meat spaceships that we don't feel like we have a lot of control over, okay? We're not separate units. Body and brain are one unit. And we've been conditioned in a lot of ways to feel like that is not true. And it's one of the saddest things, and it's one of the most dangerous things that we teach people, is that there's supposed to be this divide between our bodies and our brains. And it's really not true. And even when you start to study, some of the physiology of exercise and the anatomy, and you just see how interconnected these systems are because they are one system. Ultimately, you are a full comprehensive system, okay? So one of the best things you can do for yourself and for your fitness is to deepen that connection and to deepen that understanding of yourself as a cohesive unit, to learn what things about your brain chemistry may impact how you feel in any given workout, and to not then try and muscle your way through that, but to go, okay, cool, let me look at this like any other sort of, inhibition or injury state and figure out what modifications I need to make to be able to move safely through this. The same thing when we have injury points throughout the body. We don't want to train our brains to go, oh, don't pay attention to that pain signal. That's not telling you anything useful. It's telling you so much important information. So learn to trust that. Learn to believe that. Learn to honor the signals that your body and your brain send you, because I promise you, every day they are yelling at us. They are doing their best to give us all of the information that we need to be able
to move through life as safely and healthily as possible. And some days we just cannot hear it. And that is something I very much understand as an experience. And you know what? It's okay. And in those days, we have to honor ourselves too. In those days, we are in fact hearing the signal. And the signal is, I just need to focus on getting from moment to moment. And that's okay too. That is a signal to honor as well. All right. But a lot of times we've been trained to just ignore every piece of information that we're being given in favor of just gotta power through, gotta muscle through, no pain, no gain, and it is simply one of the most unhealthy things we do, and it cuts off our connection to every part of ourselves. It cuts off our ability to examine and process our own emotions and our psychological positioning in our brains, and it cuts off our ability to rest and pay attention to the needs of our body to make sure we're refueling, make sure we're hydrating, make sure we're resting when we need to. There's so much that gets interrupted when we treat our bodies or our brains or both as the enemy and not as partners, part of a unit, part of a cohesive whole, and that can be really hard to get to. And believe me, it's a lifelong process. It's not like one day you reach the summit of a mountain and go, okay, perfect. I have the ideal, clearly communicative relationship with body and brain and heart and emotions, and I'm just good to go. No, we never get there. It's going to be a process, but the first step is in recognizing that those walls are artificial and that we have put them up because of experiences that we've had in our lives. Trauma can be a big creator of them, or barring that, just societal lessons. We are products of the societies that we are raised in, of the environments that we are raised in. And too frequently, those environments create this artificial disconnect between brain and body and the thing that we think of as us. So, yeah, in 2021, let's see what we can do to deepen those relationships with ourselves, with all parts of ourselves, okay? Not ignoring or downplaying the contributions of any component, because they are all so important and they all do so much to take care of us, okay? Oh my goodness. That was an awesome workout though, my friends. Yeah. What a good class. I'm still looking forward to the shower, but I'm not as cold as I was when we started, so that's a good thing. But yeah, sun's going down. I think it's still snowing, so I'll be interested to see how much snow is out there in the morning. Woo! Oh my goodness. But we've got 2 more classes for this week. So Friday at 6 p.m. Mountain Time. All my times are Mountain Time. We have Functional Home Fitness, where we do weight training using objects you can find around the house. And then Saturday morning at 9 a.m. is the weekend kickoff, which is our awesome strength and stamina focused bodyweight class. It's a ton of fun. One of my favorite classes of the week, and just a really wonderful way to start out your Saturday. So definitely join for either or both of those classes. You can follow me on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. All those handles will be in my end cards, but they're all variations on Blanche Case Fitness. My YouTube channel is where I upload all the VODs from these streams, so you never have to miss a class, even if you can't make the live cast. So definitely head over there and subscribe. If you want to help support me in making these streams, I do have a coffee account, Blanche Case Fitness, and your donations are always very much appreciated. And last but certainly not least, if you want to help keep growing this channel, growing this community, getting us over the line to Twitch affiliate, which we are so close to, which would just be really exciting to hit, then please do follow this channel. Tell your friends, loved ones, coworkers, anyone looking for an awesome class. I stream 4 days a week. We have a great community. We have a lot of fun here, and I have a lot of plans that I would love to be able to share with you all this year. So let's see if we can make it to Twitch affiliate by the 1-year anniversary of this channel being founded. All right, I'm putting it out there in the universe, damn it. I'm putting it out there. Let's see if we can hit it at or before March 19th, and just really round out the next year, started off on a really good foot. So yeah, make sure to hydrate, finish your water, refill that water bottle, make sure to get yourself some food to start replenishing those energy stores, take a wonderful shower, enjoy whatever else you have planned, and I will see you all back here on Friday. Mwah! Have a great night.